What is up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Unhinged Diaries podcast. As you guys can see, you can see me. This is going to be a video version of the podcast. I know I've been sticking with doing the audio version since I was so busy these past couple weeks, but I really want to prioritize making more video episodes. I really do miss making video episodes because I feel like I'm connecting with you guys more and I just miss it. I miss being able to see how you guys feel about the episode, and I really appreciate every single person that comments because I read every single one. I've been inspired as of lately to make a lot more video episodes, so I feel like you guys are going to really enjoy that, and we're just going to be back. We're back. So what's very interesting about today's episode is the fact that it was supposed to be on Marilyn Monroe. You can see from today's episode, it's going to be on the dark truth of pretty privilege. Since we already did an episode on the ugly truth on pretty privilege, which is like more my personal experience, but I definitely wanted to continue like a little series on that because I feel like I could talk about that topic forever, and I really feel like a lot of people enjoyed that episode and I enjoyed making it, and there's just so much that can be discussed in regards to that, and I definitely wanted to pivot all of that towards like women in the industry. Like that could just, you can really make that go anywhere. What inspired me to continue with all of that was the fact that I was at work and everyone was talking about Jennifer's Body, and I definitely like was just intrigued on watching it again, because you know when you watch something again because you watched it when you were younger, and then when you're older or you just watch something again, you just come up with a new perspective. And when I saw Jennifer's Body, I was just so intrigued by it. And then it was really weird, which is really weird, is when I watched Jennifer's Body, this big documentary on Marilyn Monroe popped up on my YouTube recommended. So I clicked on it because I was just really bored at work. And I was just like so fascinated with her story, like Marilyn Monroe. I didn't realize all of the trauma that she had, before getting into the industry, and just her drive, and like there's just so much to her that I feel like she's just so misunderstood. Like when you think of Marilyn Monroe, you just think of this sex icon instead of who she really is and what she like, her drive and her like her mind, like all of that just fascinated me. And I wanted to like make a whole series on like how everyone just knows her by her sex appeal and just sees her as a sex icon compared to like all these interesting things and this mindset that she had that made her so successful. But then, which is really ironic because like I said, today's episode was supposed to be on Marilyn Monroe. What made it very interesting is the fact that the other day, which is how I like to go about my podcast episodes, I like to talk about one positive thing that happened to me this week and then one negative. And I was going to talk about this weekend that I had and how I went clubbing. So when I was doing my makeup to like get ready to like go out with my friends, what was very interesting was how like I like to do this weird thing where I like to let a video play out, like a video essay, and I'm not just like listening to it as like background whatever as I'm doing my makeup. And this video essay came out about like Jennifer's Body. And this girl's perspective on Jennifer's Body was like, oh no, I gotta do a video or episode on this, because the Marilyn Monroe, it could wait. Like, but this was just like, whoa, like we need to talk about it. And then what really was weird, I feel like the universe really wanted this episode to be on that, because then it correlated, the fact that this was like inspired before I even went out with my friend to after, like what correlate, like what happened when I went out, I feel like further correlates with why I wanted to make this episode. I don't know why it took me 4 minutes to explain to you guys why I'm making this episode. I'm so sorry. I will now shut the fuck up and go with regular programming. Let's go back to our regular programming on me talking about the positive thing that happened to me this week and then the negative, and then we'll go on with the video topic. So of course I'll leave the timestamps because I know y'all probably like, this bitch needs to shut the fuck up, and let's get on with the topic because it probably sounds interesting, and it actually is. So I'll keep it short and simple with the positive thing that happened to me this week, because I'm going to go in depth and into detail on why the negative thing that happened to me this week correlates with today's podcast episode. So I advise you to stick around with that. The positive thing you can skip through, but when it comes to the negative thing that happened to this week, it's going to really heavily correlate with today's episode and what really truly inspired it. So I definitely recommend you to listen to that. So without further ado, let's get into it. The positive thing that happened to me this week was I went out with my best friend. We were kind of arguing, and I was like being I won't lie. I was a fucking bitch. I was like, I was a cunt. I was being really distant with her, and it was a lot of miscommunication. But like, definitely, I could have been way more mature and just like being more forward with, like, I could be more like straightforward about my feelings. I just sometimes I repress how I feel because I feel like people are not going to validate it, and that's a trigger for me. Because when someone comes to me about how they feel, I'm going to validate it. Like, I'm going to try to understand where you're coming from, because I would never just turn down someone's feelings just because I don't agree with it. Like, no, I'm going to try to understand why you feel that way and apologize for me even triggering you feeling that way. Unless it's unreasonable and you're being childish and it's like, okay, like, I can understand that. But it's like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to try to validate why, like, try to validate you feeling some type of way, because that's never my intention. I feel like because of me having that mindset, I feel afraid when someone doesn't have that same mindset and someone rejects how I feel and tries to tell me how to feel. So I feel like because of that, it kind of created me being a bit distant. And not only that, I actually was going through things, hence why I wasn't really making video essays and stuff, like my video episodes and stuff like that, because I was really going through it, not gonna lie. And we finally hung out the other day, and she even, came to accompany me because I needed more crystals because my other necklace broke. And not only that, I wanted to give my mom a Mother's Day gift, so she accompanied me with that. So it was such a fun day. Like, we went out and ate and we caught up with each other, and then after that we went to the mall. And I went to a mall that was like an hour away, because like the mall that I have close by me, the Hamilton Mall, bitch, that shit is ass. Like, it's literally like, what the hell can you get from there anymore? They closed down all the most popular places, so it literally sucks. But yeah, that was really that. And when we drove back, like, since it was like an hour drive, we were blasting to our favorite music. We both had the same taste in music, so it was like such a fun time. So I guess you could say that's really the only. And not only that, I went out with my friend. Like, we went out and there was parts of it that was fun. Like, we went to a strip club and it was like so fun, and we went to a gay club that we love going to together, and that like was fun until it wasn't. And we're gonna get to why it wasn't that fun. It kind of ruined the experience for me. But that's really all on the positive thing. Like, and not only that, I've been really going to the gym and I've been really seeing results on my back. I've been doing a lot of like back workouts, and I've been really seeing my back slim down, and I've been just seeing a lot of results. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, now let's go on to the negative, which really brings us to today's episode on the dark truth of pretty privilege. So the shitty thing that happened to me this week is me and my friend that I mentioned a couple of times here in the podcast, that she lives all the way in Philly, and I would drive up to her, we'll hang out, I would like spend the night, and that would really be it. And I haven't seen her in like a long time. So we've been like planning on trying to see each other for a while. It's just our schedules are so opposite, and we're just so busy, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's when she was like recommending me to come a lot earlier, so then we could like, go out to eat, hit several clubs before we go to the strip club, because I don't even think that she knew that I've never been to a strip club before, which it's really fucking sad, because I'm 24 and the fact that I've never been to a strip club was sad. But in my defense, when I first turned 21, that was always my dream to, like, when I turned 21, go to a strip club, but I couldn't because the pandemic happened. And then after that, I was with my ex-boyfriend, and we never really went clubbing or anything like that together. And I always felt like I had to do things with him because I was always afraid to just like socialize and shit. So yeah, now I'm obviously different, and of course things have changed, but yeah. So that was like my first time going to a strip club and everything. And like, whew, so the gay club that I love going to is Woody's in Philly, and I love the energy. Like, the music is phenomenal there, and everyone there's usually fun and fine. Like, I never really had bad experiences until that night. So we go in and we're having a good time. We're getting drinks and we're enjoying each other. We're dancing together. Like, I love how her and I have the same taste in music, because you ever like, there's music playing and you're like singing along, and like whoever you're with is like, I don't know the words, but her and I like literally knew the vast majority of like the song, so it was fun. That makes it so much more fun. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we did eat beforehand, and then we went to Woody's, and that's when there's these two guys that approached us. And when they approached us, they were like talking to us, and I could tell that she was really engaging in the conversation with the other guy. This guy that I was talking to, it was pretty cool. Like, he asked me what my name was, and then we're just having small talk. And at first first, I'm really like enjoying the small talk because we started talking about astrology. I was like, what's your sign? He's like, I'm a Sagittarius. I was like, oh, I'm a Cancer. And like, we're talking a little bit about zodiac sign. And then I forgot what else we were talking about. I think I was asking him like what he does for work. I forgot. Like, I literally can't remember too much about it, but I just know in the moment, I was like, oh, wow. Like, cool, like small chat, like it's pretty cool because you know there's some people you can't even talk to for 30 seconds, like they're fucking, it's brain rot. So for him, I'm like, at least we can talk for a little bit. Like, I'm intrigued with the fact that we can talk. And I feel like after a while, like this man just has no riz. Like after a while, like I feel like he thought in his head that like we run out of things to talk about. And I feel like once I feel that way with someone, you're fucking boring. And no, it's a no for me. Because for me, like, even if I wanted to like engage in hookup culture with someone, at least engage in like at least be interesting enough to like talk to, for me to be like, oh, like I don't mind hooking up with you because I really enjoy this conversation and I don't mind seeing, like, not even seeing where it goes, but like, in like, I don't know, like taking it to the next level and like hooking up, whatever. But with him, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I kid you not, I can't even count with my two fucking hands in my fucking 2 feet how many times this man was like, oh, your tattoos, they just suit you. Did I tell you that your tattoos suit you? Like, that was like the only thing I feel like he knew how to compliment me on, and that pissed me off. Because it's like, dang, there's so many other things you can compliment me on, but you're only complimenting me on my, like, that's literally the only thing I feel like he complimented me on. And he said it like 20 different times, I kid you not. Like, it goes to a point where I'm like, how drunk is this man? Or how lit is he for him to have, like, you literally said this 5 seconds ago. He'd be like, did I tell you your tattoos, they're so nice? Oh, your tattoos, they're so nice. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, he literally said it so many times to the point I'm like, I'm bored. Like, I'm bored from this man. I turn around and my friend is like facing me and I'm like this, and then the guy's behind her, and then she like starts bending over and starts dancing on him. Like, I could really tell that she was feeling him, whereas the guy that I was with, I was not feeling him. And then I guess because he saw his friend getting some action, I don't know if he felt like entitled to get that same exact action from me, but I feel him like trying to grab me. He's like, let's dance. And I'm like, okay, like if we're dancing like face to face, whatever, like I'm like, okay. But then I feel him trying to turn me around, and he kept gripping on my hips and wanting me to like dance on him, but I'm like not feeling it, and I'm not giving into it. Like, keep that in the back of your mind. Like, I'm not feeding into that. I'm like almost awkwardly standing there, like just trying to like touch on my friend type of shit. Cause I'm like, this is like, no. And then what made it even worse is that he started grabbing my hips and like pushing me like almost onto him. And then he like started whispering in my ear like, oh, like, I know you can shake that thing. Like, I know you can move faster than that. Like being like forceful almost. Like, I could truly just say, like, I don't know what type of PTSD started getting triggered from me, but at that point, like, my fight or flight started kicking in. I was ready to square up or elbow him in the face, or I was like almost ready to cry type of shit. Like, I really, like, I don't know what came over me, but I felt like almost violated, like used in a way. Or I'm like, I feel like this man is trying to forcefully like make me dance on him, where I gave you every sign possible that I'm just not interested. Like, I'm already annoyed by the fact that we can't even have like simple small talk. Like, our conversation probably lasted 5 minutes. After that, all you really had to bring was just complimenting my tattoos 100 times. And after that, I'm like, I'm not that attracted to you, and like, I'm just bored. I'm bored. Whereas my friend, I can tell she was talking to that guy that she was dancing with for a while, so maybe they were just like more in sync. I don't know, but yeah, so she's like dancing and I'm trying to grab onto her so I can like whisper in her ear like, can we leave? Or hey, like, I want to go, like, I just want to leave, like, I want this man away from me type of shit. Like, it's like I didn't even want to leave Woody's, but it was to the point where like I'm just like starting to get annoyed. And that's when like I think she was so lit that she wasn't realizing how serious I was. And then she's like being playful, like, oh my god, do you want to have a foursome? Like, I really like my man, this will be fun. And I'm like, I'm not feeling my man. Like, well, this not my man, but like that man. Like, I'm glad that you're feeling yours, and if you really want to hook up with him, I kept telling her, I'm not gonna hold that, like, I'm not gonna take that opportunity away from you. Like, we can go back to your place and you can go do your thing, but then I'll take my car and go home type of shit. Like, I don't like this at all. And I feel like I had to keep repeating myself because I don't think she was taking me serious. And she kept like flirting with the guy, and that's when at one point I literally grabbed her face because I was like trying to be as quiet as I possibly can, because I feel like the guy kept leaning over trying to hear what I was trying to say. So that's what made it even more awkward. But I grabbed her face at one point. I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. And I feel like the moment I said I'm uncomfortable, that's when it started clicking in her head, like, oh shit, like she actually doesn't want to be here anymore. I was like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't like this guy. He keeps touching me and I don't want to engage in this. And obviously, like, I'm scared. Like, as a woman, it gets scary when you want to stand up to a man and say, hey, stop fucking touching me. I'm not interested, because you never know how a man is going to act. So for me, when I'm in that position, like, that fight or flight kind of kicks in. So I'm like, I really don't want to do this anymore. And that's when she was like, oh my God, okay. Like, do you want to go get a Uber? Like, do you want to get an Uber? We could just go straight to the strip club. I'm like, I'm down. So I think she tells the guy, and I think the guy starts to tell his friend. And that's when the guy was like, oh, you're leaving? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm trying to be as nice and like chill as possible. I was like, yeah, me and my friend are gonna go somewhere else. Like, we have plans. And he's like, oh, so we're gonna meet you over there. When I say, I was like, bitch, I'm about to go home. Like, fuck this experience of like trying to go to the strip club for the first time. I'm like, I literally went up to her and I was really about to go off on her. I'm like, did you really just invite him after I just told you I'm uncomfortable by him? She's like, no, like, he's inviting him. Like, I feel like you need to be the bad cop and just tell him how it is and say that you're not interested. Because I feel like they both are like, because she told the guy that she was dancing with that she was DTF and she was really down to like do some she kept saying in her words scandalous shit. And I think I don't know if he told his friend that, like, I don't know if he was trying to insinuate that I could possibly be down for that. And I don't know if that's why he's like, oh, well, we gotta follow her, we can't let go of this opportunity. Like, you could tell they both were like trying to cling on. And I told her, I was like, fuck no, I don't want them to follow us. I just want to leave. Like, I want to leave. And then she's like, I don't know how to tell them why we don't want them to come with us. Like, I don't know. So that's what she ended up telling him, like, hey, my friend is just not feeling your friend. And then as we leave and I went to go say, like, I went to look back and just wave goodbye, you can tell, like, he was just so salty. Like, he gave me the most saltiest look ever, because you could just tell his friend told him, like, flat out, like, hey, she's not feeling you, dude. And that was just like, ugh. Like, when I tell you I was just so uncomfortable and just not feeling it, I was surprised I even had any sort of energy left to go to the strip club. I guess I was really just like looking forward to, like, you know what, maybe this can like change the night and maybe things can change. So that was that. And that's when we ended up going to the strip club, and it was so much fun. Like, it was so much fun because of the fact that when we went there, all the women that danced for me and my friend, like, they made it such a fun experience, and it was just so fun. And that's when this guy sits next to me, and that's when he's like, is it okay if I sit here? And then we started having small talk. Like, he was really, really cool. Like, I'll give it credit when it's due. We talked for like 20 to 30 minutes. Like, we talked for a long time. Like, he was so cool. We were talking about all random things, and he was like so easy to talk to. Like, even my friend was like, girl, he's my friend was like, girl, he's ugly. But like, it's funny because she was like, oh my God, you didn't want to have the foursome. I was like, girl, my type is long hair, beard. Like, anybody knows that. And then this guy had just that, but he definitely wasn't like I don't want to say like, yeah, he was an attractive bitch. He was not. And it was funny. She was just like, girl, she's like, if you fuck him, I'm gonna be mad because you could have done better. Like, she kept saying that. I'm like, girl, I had no intentions to hook up. Like, I'm just always down for conversation. I want someone to make me want to like desire doing that, because the desire is not there, girl. Like, it's not. So with him, we're just having regular small talk. Like, I just genuinely enjoyed talking to him. That's when, after a while, straight up, like, just started sexualizing the hell out of me. Started asking me if I squirt. Started asking me like some of my kinks. Like, it just started really like annoying me, because I'm like, dude, we were just talking and having like some cool ass conversation, and now you're sexualizing the hell out of me, to the point where he's like, oh, we can go in your car right now and I can like teach you how to squirt or whatever. I can give you such a good time. And I'm like, no, I don't do things on the first night. And he's like, okay, well, you can come over even if we don't hook up. Like, you know, I'll sleep on the couch. I'm like, yeah, trust me, I was born at night, but not last night. Like, I know what you're trying to do. And it's just like, ugh. And that's when he asked me to kiss him. And I was like, you know what? I'll go for it. I kissed him. And after that, I was like, It's not that I was turned off by the kiss, but I'm like, I don't want him to think that like I'm a give into more, that I'm not easy. And that's when, after we left, he kept even asking me for a kiss. He's like, am I still gonna like, can you like, you give me a kiss goodbye? I was like, no. And that's when I feel like he kept like thinking that I was playing hard to get, but I'm like, you're just hard to want. Like, sorry, like, the men that be thinking I'm playing hard to get, you're just hard to want. And that was really just that on that. And like, it just really bothered me how much, like, how quick he was just to sexualize me. It was almost like he was acting charming and really cool to talk to, and then his true intentions just showed, you know? And I truly feel like that's what's going to correlate with today's podcast episode on the dark truth of pretty privilege. Because I feel like a lot of people who start to experience that, like, pretty privilege starts to really realize the really fucked up intentions people could really have. And when I was listening to this video analysis on Jennifer's Body, and then Megan Fox talking about how that was one of her best projects that she ever worked on, for one, because she could resonate so much with her character in that movie, and then two, it's just she has a lot of like those qualities, because she was a sex symbol in the early, like, you know, like the 2000 era. Like, she was like a sex icon. Like, everyone wanted to be her, everyone wanted to be in her, like, truthfully. So it was very interesting hearing her thoughts on the movie and how much she resonated with the character, because like people think like, oh my god, it must be so nice to be so desired by men, to have so many men crawl up to you. Like, it must be so nice, like you should be wanting that. And then when you see her break down the reality of that attention, what that does to you, same thing for Marilyn Monroe, hence why I wanted to do a video on her. It's like just very interesting. Like, I feel like men think, oh, this woman's hot, she must like to be sexualized, to the point where she's not even a person, to the point where like it's supposed to make us feel so valuable. Like that's something that's so appreciated. Like, damn, you don't even care about my mind, or to even talk to me, or to view me as a person, but just my body or what you could do to me. It's like insane. And hence why I really wanted to make this video, make this episode, because it's something I could resonate so much with. So before we get into talking about Jennifer's Body, we have to talk about Megan Fox and have a little bit of an understanding of her background and like a little bit of her upbringing. So she described her dad, he used to hunt ducks and her mom would put them in the pot, and how she really just lived modestly, and her family had very little money. So I feel like that just paints the picture of her having a very humble upbringing. And she said that she played this character after she was in the movies Transformers, because of course anyone who would know that, like, that movie Transformers, that really skyrocketed her career. She said that she would play this persona as someone who was very aware of her sexuality, and she would like say these outrageous things during interviews. And it's really funny because when you would see all that, you would think, oh my god, like this girl must have been around, she must be like this wild card, when in actuality she's like, I only ever slept with 2 men around this time, and they were in long-term relationships. She was in a long-term relationship with, and she was a homebody. Like, you would never really see her out in a club having a wild phase. So like, it's just very interesting because she grew up in this environment where I'm sure like she was just very, because she would literally say, so she's an introvert, and she never, like, she was just like, she valued deep connection in relationships. So it's kind of crazy because, you know, when she was in the movie Transformers, she used her appearance for her benefit, in a sense of like, okay, let me just feed into like what people want me to feed into, because, you know, I'm this hot, beautiful woman, but if I were to show who I really am, will that really sell, compared to like playing this role of this person that's like so wild, says all these like scandalous things in interviews. And she was, you know, obviously aware of her sexuality, did like, you know, these like photo shoots and stuff like that, and like fed into what people really wanted. She says how, and she describes herself as someone that's very confident in her personality. However, she would describe herself as someone that's completely hysterically insecure, self-loathing, introverted, and very neurotic about how she looks. And when you like hear all of that, that really does correlate a lot with, you know, Jennifer Check, is that her last name? Jennifer Check from the movie Jennifer's Body. Like, that really does correlate so much with that character, and hence why I feel like she always says that that was the best work that she's ever done, like the best project that she was ever a part of. And when you really start to look at the movie's Jennifer's Body, like, you can really truly like understand like why that resonates so much with her, why she was so perfect for the role, for one, and two, she played the role so well, and probably why a lot of us can even relate to that character. Jennifer's Body, ironically, I feel like the movie was a metaphor for trauma. Like, the metaphor was Jennifer, with that whole ritual that she was a part of, I feel like really represented being raped, like being taken advantage of by men. And in resort of that, her sort of justice towards herself was preying on the men. And it's also kind of crazy how her sense of power was also her weakness. Like, she was obviously very aware of her effects on her appearance. Hence, like, what I mean by that, it's like, oh, she knows that, like, she's very attractive. She knows the benefits she gets from being attractive. And it's like it was also her downfall because of the fact that she would be very bored by how men will bend over backwards for her and drool over her when she's like, damn, I didn't have to do anything for that. Like, all I had to do was just be hot, and like I already had you crumbling to your knees, you know?
Jennifer.
Hey, Colin. Can I borrow your English homework again? I forgot to read Hamlet. Is he gonna fuck his mom?
Well, no, I don't think so. I actually wanted to ask you something.
You wanna know if I'll go out with you?
Yeah. What? I don't. How'd you
Just
know?
go ahead with the pitch.
Okay. Well, we've been having a lot of fun in class, you and I thought that maybe you'd like to go see a movie or something. There's a midnight showing of Rocky Horror at the Bijou next weekend.
I don't like boxing movies.
Yeah, but it's not a fucking boxing movie. Fuck it. Okay. Forget it.
She even deemed them as pathetic. And she like wanted someone new and on her level. And I feel like I relate to that so much, especially now dating in this generation. Like, maybe it's a little narcissistic and maybe it is a little cocky, but I feel like in my own way I perceive myself, I'm like Megan Fox to myself. Like, if you don't deem me as Megan Fox in your life and you're gonna leave me a hate comment, bitch, go for it, okay? But how I perceive myself will always be all that matters. And to me, I view myself as someone that's so attractive, so confident, and all of that. And for me, I feel the same exact way when it comes to dating, where it's like, wow, like I will like talk, like I literally what I just said when I went on, like when I was like at Woody's and I was like talking to that guy, like I know I'm attractive, I know I'm flirty, I know I'm really fun, but then it's like, when you just think that complimenting my tattoos is gonna get me all over you, or like the conversation just didn't go anywhere and you just became immediately boring to me, it's like, oh, like I immediately lost interest. I'm like, you're fucking boring. Like, I like a guy that's like challenging me and we're talking and bubbly, and like that other guy I saw at the strip club, he was so fun until he just immediately just switched off and just started talking about sex and like just wanting to do it, and I'm like, like having like a 30-minute conversation with me is not going to be enough. Like, it's just not going to be enough. It was just I felt that, like, being bored and be like, dang, you're pathetic. I feel the same exact way. And what's even crazier, and I feel like the true tragedy of this movie, is the fact that like she valued her appearance worked against her, because that's unfortunately what led her to be sacrifice from that boy band in the movie. Like, they were infatuated with how she looked, and it's fucked up because it's like, in her eyes, she deems that as a prize. Like, it's such a great thing to have, is that pretty privilege, is to have that like sex appeal. But then sometimes that really does work against you, and I feel like that's a topic that could really go a million ways, but unfortunately when it comes to men, that shit can really work against you. And I feel like that was the true tragedy in this movie. And it's like they preyed on her because they assumed that she was a virgin when she was not, which caused her to become a demon. And it becomes the thing where her feeding on men helped her maintain her attractiveness. And if she didn't maintain, like, you know, preying on men, like actually feeding on them and eating them, whatever, or killing them and shit, she would end up decaying. It's even worse is the fact that like Jennifer's obsession with her looks is also another part of her tragedy, because of the fact that like men reduce the value of her to just her looks and her beauty. And without her looks, it's like she doesn't even have a strong sense of self, because it's like she doesn't feel like she has other shit to offer. Like, think about it. When she would have those conversations with Needy, like that was the best friend in the movie, all it just came down to her appearance. She just talked about the privilege that she had. She's like, oh, I'm just so used to guys just hitting on me, like whatever. Like, she valued, like when she like preyed on the men, and then she like obviously started to like feel phenomenal, feel amazing. It was like just appearance wise, but when it came to her heart and her soul, it's like I don't think that she felt like that was actually any value there. I think the part that was even more sad too is the fact that when I say that her obsession with her appearance worked against her was the fact that like the men that, you know, she murdered didn't even see her as a person. They didn't even see her as a woman. They saw her just for her body. And of course one could argue, oh my god, she was like, you know, she only saw the only thing valuable about herself was her body. But it's like, I feel like that's what like makes this movie so interesting. It's the fact that it's about a woman who was like I said, the metaphor is like being R-word. Like, you ever see I Spit on Your Grave? Like that girl, like she was, that movie was traumatizing. I don't know about y'all, but I watched that movie without context. Like, I remember everyone saying it was such a, like, it's such a crazy, gory movie. And I was like, oh my God, let me watch it without reading the description. Bitch, I was traumatized. As an SA survivor, when I tell you, I was like, I was like shaking in my boots. Like, I was like, oh, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, it was like I was shaking. It was traumatizing because, girl, that's, the scenes went on for too long. Like the essay went on for too long and it was traumatizing. It's just sad because then like these women, like they would just like, they seek vengeance. Like they feel like their sort of justice is coming for these men. And I feel like for her, like this whole movie was the fact that like, I feel like that ritual was kind of like a metaphor for being R-worded, like being taken advantage of. And then because of that, she felt like, you know, she started to grow this hatred towards men. She already found them boring. She always felt like, oh my God, men are fucking boring anyways. Like even like fucking Megan Fox herself said that she felt like the way that she perceived her character in that movie was someone that was a lesbian. Like, you know, Jennifer, she perceived her as a lesbian. And it's just very interesting with that kind of perspective as well, because of the fact that like she was bored of men. She was bored by them because she just felt like they only found her interesting because of her appearance. And it's just, it is fucking boring. And when people just see you as that, like they don't care to have a conversation with you, they don't care to stimulate your mind or your soul, it does get fucking annoying and boring. Whereas the crazy thing, the most iconic scene from this movie was when she was stabbed in the chest by Needy. And when she was stabbed in the chest, her first instinct was to be like, oh, my tit. But then Needy was like, no, your heart.
No, your heart.
And that scene is so freaking iconic. And I feel like that's another reason why she was in love with Needy. I think we can all establish and agree that she was in love with Needy. And I feel like the reason why she was in love with her was because of the fact that she was the only person that truly saw her. And I think that, like I said, I feel like that's why Megan Fox really truly connects with this character so much, because I remember I saw somewhere where she said that she loves MGK so much. It's because of the fact that, like, of course, being such a big sex symbol, sex icon in Hollywood, imagine what that does to you in dating. Bitch, I'm not even Megan Fox. Like, I don't even have that much of an impact, you know, in regards to sex appeal. I just know I'm hot, okay, bitch? But her, I can't even imagine to her magnitude. And for me, I'm a no with dating. So imagine being in Hollywood. So it's like you're already famous. Like, being famous and dating, I can't imagine how annoying that is. So imagine being a sex symbol and trying to date, you know? And then for her, she would literally say that she felt like all men just, like, same thing, just deemed her as, like, the most, her appearance being the most interesting thing about her. And why she fell so hard for MGK was because of the fact that he saw her. Like, he was, like, he liked learning more about her. Like, he treated her as a person. And I think that's what's the most interesting thing about, and I think the really dark truth about pretty privilege is the fact that, like, you will come across that so much where people feel like that's the only interesting thing about you. especially men. I related to that so much because of the fact that in my last relationship, a lot of people talk shit about my ex, where they're like, he's ugly. They're like, Ali, you could do so much better. Like, what were you doing? And for me, it's like, I fell so deeply in love with my ex because of the fact that, like, when I first met him and I went over his place, I would never forget, he was, to this day, the only man ever that when I laid in his bed never made a move on me sexually. And we were seeing each other every single day for 3 months straight. Like, we obviously talked on and off for a year, and then we were talking every single day, like hanging out every single day for 3 months, and I was coming over consistently, and he never even brought up the word sex until, like, we started, like, getting more and more serious, you know? And like, that's, like, people don't understand, like, how valuable that is. Like, how valuable, like, when you, like, get so much attention from men or from whoever, and then when you meet that, like, when you meet people that, like, actually care about getting to know your mind, your soul, like, that's what I feel like love really is, and the beauty behind, like, love, when you really, like, see someone and you want to know more about them, you want to pick apart their mind, you want to see why the way that they think. That's so beautiful. And I can't imagine for her how long it was, how many men she had to go through for her to realize, like, dang, all these people are fucking shitty. They have one thing and one thing only that they want. So when you meet that person that really wants to know who you are, why you are the way that you are, you could be your complete authentic self too. That's so beautiful. And I can imagine, like, that's why, like, people always talk shit about her being with MGK, but it's like, imagine, like, finding someone that sees you for you. Like, you will not come across that often. I promise you, you will not. And there's something really beautiful about that. And I think why my weekend was so shitty is because of the fact that, like, I was gonna involve this, like, when I first told the story, I was gonna add this really important detail, but I literally dressed specifically because I didn't want to be sexualized. And it was, like, very frustrating because I know back in the summer when I used to club a lot, girl, I would wear, like, a top that showed my underboob. Like, I wanted attention. I didn't care if I got, like, sexualized because that's kind of what I wanted. I was in a very dark place, and I felt like any sort of attention was, like, attention, and it was, like, dopamine hitting, like, my head, like, type of shit. And then going through all this transformation and growth that I've been going through, I'm like, I just don't, like, it kind of annoys the fuck out of me when someone sexualizes me without even trying to get to know me, like, it just starts to fucking bother me. And then it's like, when I went to go out with my friend, I literally specifically was like, I want to dress in a way where it's not slutty, but I still feel really confident and nice, you know? And literally what I wore was, like, a corset top, like, you know, that, like, didn't really show my stomach or anything like that. Like, it was just showing my shoulders, really, like, a little bit of my chest, like a corset top with a skirt. And it's sad that I even had to describe what I'm wearing, because it's like, why the fuck do women, like, why do I need to be sexualized, period, regardless of what I wear, you know? But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I literally wore a corset top with a skirt and, like, boots and, like, an oversized jacket. So, like, I really wasn't, like, dressed slutty. So it was kind of really frustrating when I went out and I still got, like, really sexualized. Like, that shit was so fucking annoying to me. And I think that's what probably made me really, really sad, because it does get really frustrating when no one really wants, like, no one cares to get to know me and know my heart and my passion. Because it's, like, weird, because it's like, I relate so much when, like, Megan Fox says that she's confident in her personality, but she's really insecure. And then for me, it's like, I can relate so much. Like, I know I'm funny. I know I have so much to give in relationships and friendships and stuff like that. But I could be very, like, I am very insecure in a sense where it's like, I do hyperfixate on my appearance because I know the benefits I get from it. Like, if you listen to my, or watch my episode on the ugly truth of pretty privilege, I told you guys my experience on all of it. How I grew up being treated so shitty. And then the way that I get treated on when I'm, like, full glam and everything, like, literally when I first walked, I love going to Philly though, not gonna lie. I love going to Philly because everyone's so nice. Like, especially when I go down the street where all the gay bars are at, like, the gays will be like, oh my God. My friend was walking down the streets to Philly to go to the club. There was people literally going up to saying, two bad bitches, like, gassing us up, and it feels so nice and good, and, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's just like, I don't know, like, obviously the benefits from, like, being glammed up and looking like this, it fucking is nice. Like, people would treat me so nicely, and it's like, it's true compared to when I didn't look like society's version of attractive. I was bullied. Everyone was so mean to me, whereas when I'm dressed full glam, men are so nice to me. Like, all the boys in my job, I don't want to sit there and say that they weren't going to be nice to me regardless of the matter, because they are sweet and genuine people, but it's like, Would you have been nice to me if I didn't like care for my appearance the way that I do, you know? And I think that's why I have such a deep obsession with my with my appearance. And I'm pretty sure Megan Fox, to an extent, can relate to the fact that like, oh, we become so obsessed with our appearance and really hyperfixate on it. Even like the character Jennifer from Jennifer's Body, is that we obsess over it because we know the amount of benefits we get from it. But then there's also that deep insecurity of like, if I didn't have this quality, if I didn't have these benefits, where like am I still valuable, you know? And it's like kind of weird because it's like I know there's value in me as a person, but then there's like, it's even more frustrating where there's a disconnect where people like, I know like I'm funny, I know I'm worth talking to, I know I'm a great conversationalist, but then when it's like, if like, you know, when they say don't judge a book by its cover, if I didn't look like society's version of attractive, people wouldn't even care to talk to me, people wouldn't even care to be nice to me. And I think that's why I felt so much like, I felt so much like just shitty feelings when I was getting bullied growing up, because I'm like, I know I'm fucking funny, like I know I make people laugh, I know like I have all these beautiful qualities, but it's like, just because I didn't look like society's version of attractive, you're gonna be mean to me, you're gonna dismiss me, you're not gonna care. And then there's the fucking flip side of when I am society's version of attractive, like I am like, I don't know, like some people say I have this sex appeal, whatever, it's like, then it's like same thing, but I'm being treated nicer. Like people still don't care about what I think or what I have to say or what makes me me. It's almost like, oh, your appearance, like it makes you hot, I want to fuck you. But it's like, oh, I don't really care about your mind, or it makes you you. And it gets really fucking lonely. Like it gets really, really fucking lonely. I was actually emotional before I even started filming this like podcast episode, whatever. Which is funny now because I don't have the urge to cry anymore. I really thought I was gonna cry filming this because I was so emotional about it earlier. But it does get really fucking lonely when it's like people only feel like the only interesting thing about you is your appearance. That is it. Not like, and I hate bringing up the situationship that I was in like months ago, but I feel like I had a big epiphany not too long ago on why that hurt me so much. And I think why it hurt so much was the fact that like, because I couldn't understand why I like that person so much. I'm like, why do I love this person so much? Like I didn't feel seen and heard by him, so why the fuck was I so like in love with him? And I think what it really stemmed from was the fact that like I was projecting how I felt about him. I wanted him to feel the same way about me. And what I mean by that is like when I looked at him, or when I was with him, I was like, oh my god, like I used to think I was so weird, hyper like obsessing over things. Like when I first started my Ali Rants account, I was literally just obsessed with talking about pop culture or just things that I just overthinked about. And then I didn't think that there was a community or people that gave a shit about hearing what I had to say. And I always thought like I was just weird for that. So then when I met him and he would like hyper analyze like movies and like care like actresses or like actors and stuff like that, I thought it was so attractive. Like I could literally hear him talk all day. Like I literally would get so turned on by like him just talking about that stuff passionately. And when I felt like he didn't feel that way about me, that felt like 1,000 knives in my chest. Like when I tell you that was like the worst pain ever, and it destroyed me for a while, when I was just like, wow, like he's just like every other guy who looks at me just thinks I want to fuck her, she's hot, or I just want possession of her. Like it will look nice having like a baddie on like around my shoulder, like around my arm or whatever, but it's like that is it. Didn't care about my mind, what makes me happy, what doesn't make me happy, who I am, nothing. It was just sex. And then that's why I would get, and not only that, like same thing too when I went on these, like when I went to the club not too long ago, and like I feel like those men, they just looked at me and thought the only interesting thing about her really is just she's hot. That's all they could really bring up. Not so like what do you do, what do you like, what you don't like, blah 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 blah, like trying to have like interesting conversation. It was just immediately just trying to fuck me. And then it's like I started getting really self-cautious. Like, was it what I wore? Like, what about me gave off the vibe that I wanted to fuck or wanted to talk about sex at all? Wanted to grind on you? I don't know. Like, it was just very frustrating and it made me really upset. But then again, I hope that this episode could really resonate with someone out there who probably experienced the same thing, is experiencing the same thing. And what is the possible solution to this? I don't know. Then again, it's like, I don't fucking know. When I was listening to the analysis in the end, they're like, yeah, Jennifer was just probably really just gay because she was so in love with Needy because she's the only person that saw her. I'm like, is it me? Am I just gay at this point? Like, what the fuck? Because I'm over men. They're just boring to me sometimes. Truthfully, honestly. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap everything for today's podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. I definitely wanted this to be a part 2, or I don't even know, probably just a series in general. I'm probably going to do one on Marilyn Monroe, like a deep dive, and talk about the things that I feel like people don't talk about enough when it comes to her accomplishments, her like trials and tribulations. Like, there's so much that should be talked about. Like, truthfully, like literally, she is my lock screen right now. Because I'm like, when I listen to that documentary, I'm like, wow, I was so wowed. I was so wowed. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching or listening. If you listen to this on Spotify, make sure to give it a 5 stars rating because I know you learned something new or resonated in some type of way. And if you're watching this on the podcast YouTube channel, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to comment down below your experiences on the dark side of pretty privilege, and what do you think are possible solutions to this problem? Or I don't know, like other people that I can like make a series on about this. I feel like there's so many icons. Could we do one on Kim Kardashian maybe? I don't know, like we could do so many people about this topic specifically. But I love you guys so much, and make sure to click that subscribe button down below if you want to see more of me, because why wouldn't you? And I'm just so happy that you are here, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.